Hello.
Hello.
I'm Ginger.
I'm Dee.
And this is Chattin with CHAP. Okay, so we are back. And it's September. Was it September last week? I think maybe it was.
I think it was.
September.
I'm like, I don't know. Maybe. I know, but it's starting to feel like the mornings, and I take the dogs out. It's a little
darker,
chillier in the morning.
It's gonna get in the 70s the next week or so. So it's actually fallish.
Yes.
Wow.
I don't know how I feel, but anyway.
Yeah, I know. It's 2020. It's like, what? Wait, what just happened? Okay, so we were going to talk about overreach and overcompliance.
We are. But let's first.
Yeah.
Let's first talk a little bit about you all who have multiple children that you're homeschooling.
Yeah.
I just want to encourage you a little bit in that, especially if you're a new homeschooler. Because if you're a new homeschooler, you may be trying to replicate school at home. And so you may have curriculum for each child, for each subject, for 4 children, and you're starting, you're a week and a half in, and you're ready.
What did we do?
You're ready to quit, and your school days are 18 hours long. And so we just want to address that issue because we've been there. We have multiple children, and we know what it's like to homeschool them, and so we just want to encourage you. Think one-room schoolhouse.
And the cool thing about one-room schoolhouses too is it wasn't like I'm in 3rd grade, I'm doing 3rd grade math and 3rd grade reading. I mean, we talked about the book Understood Betsy before, and she was like 2nd grade math and 7th grade reading, although she was a 3rd grader. So think outside the grade thing. Technically on an affidavit, you don't need to put down a grade. There really isn't any such thing as grade in homeschooling. It's just progress and learning more and variety of things. It's really, you do schoolwork where you're at academically.
Well, and where your family's at. So find as many things as you can do together. I mean, we would often do things, I would be teaching to the older ones, and the younger ones would happen to be there soaking it in, listening, but I didn't necessarily have a specific curriculum for the younger one.
I even did that. We always did the same science. So we did Apology of Science, and we would work our way through the 5 or 6 different books. And even when we started a co-op, and our co-op didn't use one science for all the grades, they had a different science for each grade. I was like, well, my kid's gonna sit in class, but we're doing this science at home. So they sat and they were good and they participated and stuff, but I didn't read that science. We were reading Swimming Creatures that year, and that was it. And that's what everybody did at home. And we might have done a notebook, we might not have, we did whatever. But we did not read astronomy and Swimming Creatures and botany all in the same year. I wasn't going there. We were doing all one thing. We did the same thing with history. Obviously math is level related and reading is level related, but you can read stories out loud, right? I mean, read alouds are great, and that's a great way to build vocabulary. Little ones get big. My kids had really good, every time they test, they have really good vocabulary, and it's because we just have read, and we've read higher level books. You don't read Dr. Seuss all the time. You're reading to the junior high kids, and the little ones are hearing it, so they're hearing those words. Yes, it's good.
So your days should not be totally overwhelming and making you crazy because you're trying to do 32 different subjects. It won't work. It will never work. You'll burn out. Before September. Before September 15th. I don't know. So we just want to encourage you in that. And if you have questions, you feel free to reach out to us to ask other families who've been homeschooling for a while. You'll get into a rhythm.
It does take a while to do the rhythm.
It does.
It takes a while.
It does, but
months even.
Just
it takes a long time.
Encouraging you to just think about your family as a whole and what's the best way to teach within your dynamics and your ages, and give yourself some grace.
Yeah, it's a learning curve.
It sure is. It sure is. But but we have lots of new homeschoolers, and we have lots of homeschoolers that have reached out to us, and we've seen in other groups who have all of these questions in regards to the public school in the way that they're, the school districts in the way that they're handling their
the influx of
paperwork.
homeschoolers. I think probably most school districts have had homeschoolers before, but now they're like, oh, there's like all these homeschoolers.
Right.
What do we want to do with them? How are we, and some of them I'm guessing they don't understand the homeschool law.
Right.
So there's overreach happening.
Right. And it's a shock to their system, you
It
know?
is.
And so
It is.
oftentimes they're asking for things that they should not be asking for.
Yeah.
Your diploma, your medical and dental immunization records, your birth certificates, your evaluator's name, your curriculum that you'll be using.
Birth certificates of your kids. Yeah, any of that specific information is not required. You don't have to give it by law. So, especially with the medical, the dental, the diploma, if your affidavit is worded correctly, it attests to that. So I'll read to you the one that's on homeschoolpennsylvania.org. There's a line that says, I'm the supervisor of the home education program and am responsible for the provision of instruction in the home education program, and that I have a high school diploma or its equivalent. Bam. You don't need to give them anything. And then I attest that the children named in the paragraph has been immunized against the following diseases. And then the next one was, I attest that the children named in the paragraph has received health and medical services required by Article 14 of the Public School Code. So the fact that those two things are in there, if those two things are in there, then you do not need to attach them to it. And at the bottom, there's a thing that says attachments, and the only thing that's listed is educational objectives by subject matter. And those are the generic ones that are on.
Right.
Homeschool
Now, you do want to be sure that the affidavit you're using only has the objectives listed as your attachments.
Yes.
I've seen an affidavit that a school district was handing out for people to use, and under attachments
All
it
the stuff
said
in there.
they wanted the medical records, dental records,
stuff.
immunization records, all these different things. So you want to make sure that your attachments, it doesn't say that at the end.
Since it's a legal document, if you say you're attaching it, you need to attach it.
Right.
So you got to check and see what's on there.
Right.
So my suggestion is to write your own or use CHAPs. I would not use one from a public school.
Yeah.
For that reason, because they list a whole bunch of stuff that really is overreach and is unnecessary. So if you want to create your own, that's great. I think CHAPS is a great example. At least it has those particular things in there.
And you can find that on homeschoolpennsylvania.org under affidavit. Also, beware of third-party requests for health information. Heard about that?
Did you?
It was
you
new
know,
to,
this is-
well, you
yeah,
shared
I
that
just
with me.
saw it. There was a woman in a school district in Lancaster, and she got an email from, what is it called? Care Docs. Care Docs was the particular place. It was a third party. It was in the school district, saying that mom could update her kids if she created an account, registered with them. She could update her kids' medical information and medical and dental throughout the school year on this system, and it was HIPAA safe. Don't worry, we comply with HIPAA. But I'm thinking, wait, what? So I'm thinking, no. If you attest that you have it at home, you don't need to do that third party stuff.
Right.
So, and it was addressed to homeschoolers. It was not a generic thing for all of the school district. It was like a homeschooler particular aimed thing. So I don't think I would do something like that.
Nope, and we talked about this before. When you decide that you're going to homeschool, you're not applying to do so. It is a notification to the school district, not an application. You're not applying to be a homeschooler.
Yeah, so the word apply implies that the school district can tell you, you can't homeschool. And many school districts are doing that. They're saying, you can't homeschool. We did not approve your application. That's not legal. It's not valid. We are not applying. We are notifying. So you are telling them, hey, I'm going to homeschool, just letting you know.
Right.
Here's my paperwork. And they can't say anything.
Right.
You can homeschool.
Another bit, another thing with the wording that gets confusing, you register for public school, you file an affidavit to homeschool.
Yeah. So don't put the word register with homeschooling, because I think that really, especially when you're talking to public school people, I think it really confuses them, because they think that you're registering your child for public school. It's not the same thing. So if we keep our words straight, it keeps everybody on the same page as to what we're talking about.
So just remember, if you are filing an affidavit, you are giving notifications you're going to homeschool. The school can't put that on hold as soon as you hand it in. start.
Yes.
They can't delay you, deny you. They can't fail your child. They have no say over curriculum or anything. Yeah.
You are free to homeschool the way you want to homeschool, as long as your children progress, and it doesn't even say anything about grade level, as long as your children progress and you are covering those subjects as it says in the law. Now remember, in the law, like, it doesn't say you have to do all the subjects every single year. Remember, we've talked about that before for elementary and those types of things. Just as long as your child is progressing and you're covering these subjects at a certain time, they can't tell you what to do, and they can't tell you, well, you haven't done enough, or they, it's not, it's your evaluator says, hey, you're doing great, I'm gonna assign it. That's it. That you have freedom. There's freedom here as a supervisor.
So we've gone over this before with you, but we just want to go over it one more time. What are the requirements? What do you have to do if your child's been in school and you're deciding to homeschool? We do recommend that you file, you send a withdrawal letter. You file a withdrawal letter.
Some school districts have their own.
Right.
They have
and
a
it's
withdrawal
not, that's not in the law, but it's a good idea.
It is. Yeah. And really, if you're filing an affidavit, that's supposed to take care of it. Right. HSLDA does suggest doing a withdrawal letter just so there's no truancy issues, and if the school doesn't get your affidavit for some reason, they're like, why is your kid not showing up or whatever. Right. That's what the withdrawal letter is for.
So you can send that letter. You also then file your affidavit and objectives. So.
And the day that you put, if you walk into this office and you put your paper down on there, that's it. You're good. And if you stick it in the mail, I think it's the day you put it in the mail. It's dated. You can start on that day.
Yeah. Also, if you have an IEP, you can decide to revoke that. You can decide you don't want that anymore. We've been over that before.
Yeah, that's a simple letter. It's just saying we're no longer going to follow the IEP for the such and such child. Blah, blah, blah. If you do have an IEP and you want to keep it, you're choosing to homeschool, you do need to have your objectives signed off by a special education teacher. So that is an extra requirement on top of just affidavit and objectives. Right. So if your child does have an IEP, that's one extra step. So there are some school districts that are on top of that, and they are saying, hey, you didn't get this signed, and the reason was because the child had an IEP. Now, if you decide you don't want to keep it, then you just write a letter saying, well, we've decided we are revoking this IEP, and we are no longer following it. Right. And you would hand that in instead.
Yeah. And then your generic objectives. They don't have to be detailed. We've talked about that before. You can look
curriculum list. No, don't have to.
You can look back on our episodes to see where we talk about that, but just generic objectives, and that's it. So just don't comply with the overreach, because what that does is it creates
an expectation. The school district can ask these things of you, and you will do them, even though it's not in the law. And we don't want to do that because it's restrictive to us. We want our freedom. We want the homeschool freedom, and we don't want to give them something that's not being required. It enables other folks to control what's happening in our homeschool.
Right. So if the school asks you for any of these things, or starts to give you a hard time, refuses to accept your affidavit, your paperwork, we just encourage you to get a homeschool-friendly attorney involved. Become a member of HSLDA. That's real simple. And then you just one quick phone call to them.
They will, HSLDA, I know, is very, very happy to get in touch with the school district and say, hey, this is a law. This is how it works. This is what you can ask for. This is what you can't ask for. They're very happy to do that. And there are other lawyers out there that you can use. Just make sure they know their stuff. And
And so you've done that. You homeschool for the year. At the end of the year, you see your evaluator. Get your evaluation letter from them. That's it.
That's all you hand in.
It.
They can't ask you for anything else at the end of the year. Okay, so
what can you do?
What do you do here? So the best thing to do is to learn the law. It's on homeschoolpennsylvania.org, just the straight law. You can read it, get familiar with it, know what it says. And I just want to caution you, there are homeschooling groups on Pennsylvania. You're all out there on Facebook, different homeschooling groups that interpret the law differently. CHAP has a more conservative view on some things. So homeschoolpennsylvania.org does list the places, we'll say, CHAP believes this, HSLDA suggests this. So where there might be a differing interpretation, there are other homeschool groups that may or may not agree with our interpretation, or HSLDA's interpretation for that matter. And it's not that they're wrong, it's just a different interpretation.
That's right.
CHAP always encourages people, like, say, if you know you're going to homeschool, file early. Don't wait until the last minute. So that's why you might see in our verbiage, we might say file by August 1st for everybody. Because if you know, just do it.
Right.
You know, don't wait until the 11th hour. So this type of thing. So it's not that if you do go to a public school, there is a chance, shouldn't say a good chance, but they might not have correct information. If it is a homeschool group, it's probably just an interpretation difference. But know the law yourself.
That's right.
Understand it yourself. And then
know the law. Don't yield to the overreach. Think about like the history we shared a few weeks ago. Homeschooling in the state of Pennsylvania and all the fight to get us to where we are today. And so
we don't want to give the freedom up that we fought for all those years, and had a chance to get a little freer at one point and lost it because we weren't in agreement.
Right. And so what happens when you yield to that overreach, it becomes the new normal, and
no one likes that
strips
term.
freedom, it creates control. So we already said contact a lawyer, ask seasoned homeschoolers, ask questions. If you have questions, ask them.
Yeah, so we want to encourage you to protect your freedom, protect your right to homeschool, stand up and be firm. Like, if you know this is the law and you can't ask me to do this, stand firm with it. And if some school districts get really hard with you, then get a lawyer, call HSLDA, get them involved, because we want to stand up for these freedoms. Even if you're not planning on homeschooling for a long time, there's a whole bunch of us that are.
Right.
So if there's a whole bunch of people coming in who are over complying, it can really negatively affect those of us who have been homeschooling for a long time or who are planning on homeschooling for a long time. So, support everybody who's homeschooling or intends to homeschool and fight for those freedoms to do so.
That's right. Yeah. So the school has zero control over your homeschool as long as you comply with the law.
And we told you what that is. Affidavit, objectives, evaluator.
Right.
That's all that so the school district can't say anything else outside of those things. And there's a thought that was in there and it just left. I don't remember what it was. I hate it when that happens.
Maybe it'll come back. You can still call and support HB 1938.
Yeah, that's about the compulsory age. The session isn't over, although we know that there's all kinds of other things going on right now. But I would still call up to Harrisburg and tell them what you're thinking about that, and that the homeschool freedom is important to you, and enjoy that freedom.
That's right.
Don't give it up. Yeah, we did want to mention one thing. There's a site out there that a lot of people talk to. It's Ask Pauline, and their affidavit, and I know objectives are good. I know I have friends who still use them. But there's a lot of their stuff that hasn't been updated. So I just wanted to warn you, there is some stuff out there that is still very up-to-date and usable, but there's other things that aren't. So it's been shared a lot, and at one time it was an excellent resource and everybody went there, but now it has fallen out of, it's not current, out of date. So
just make sure the information you're getting is up to date.
Yeah.
And enjoy your freedom.
Yeah.
Don't give it away.
Yeah, don't give it
Enjoy
away.
it.
Exactly. If you have any questions, is this overreach? I'm concerned. What is this? Please post it here or message us here at Facebook. We are very happy to answer your questions. We have a contact form on chaponline.com too, if you'd rather go that way. So we're here to help you and clear the air if you're confused. But we definitely got to stand up for our freedoms and just do what the law asks you to do, and that's it.
That's right.
Fabulous.
Okay. Well, we will see you again next week.
All right.
This has been
Chattin' with Chap.
See ya.
Bye.